Hi, everybody. My name's Terry Klein, and I'm here today to present the second module of 5 in our online fundamental umpire clinic from Softball, Saskatchewan. I'm going to take myself off the screen in a minute, but I did want you to be able to see who was actually talking to you through this session, and then I'll pop back on once we're at the end of the session. So I hope you enjoy the session, and hopefully you learn a little bit. And I also hope to see you on the diamond this year. This is a national official certification program, and it's basically giving you what's called a level 1. And if you've already done a clinic prior to this one, you are still a level 1 umpire. If you want to register this year as a level 2 and you've done a year of ball where you've been behind the plate and you've been on the bases, then I would highly recommend that you do that. I want to give the appropriate credits to the people who designed this program. Susan Stratford, as the umpire-in-chief in British Columbia, I'd like to thank her for kindly lending us her materials. But I have prepared this particular module for Softball Sask. A little bit about me. I've been involved in softball for many years, only recently becoming an umpire. So I think I started in 2010. So it says here for the past 11 years, I guess I'm on my 12th. I've had plenty of opportunity to work in Saskatoon with some very experienced umpires, and that has allowed me to increase my skills and abilities at provincials, and I have been selected to work at the national level. I've got a few championships under my belt. I've worked in 2 Western Canadians, 1 University Canadian Championship, a Summer Games in Winnipeg in 2017, 2 Canada Cup tournaments, most recently in 2018 and 2019. And those are international tournaments that are held in the Vancouver area, or White Rock in particular, in BC, and finally 6 Canadian championships spanning a few years. In 2019, I was able to earn my level 5 standing at a championship in St. John's, Newfoundland. I was awarded the Softball Sask Umpire of the Year in 2013 and 2019. I've been heavily involved in a committee that is called the Umpire Development Committee. And on that committee, there are 4 umpires from around Saskatchewan. And I was the deputy umpire-in-chief of the North for many years. And now I am the umpire-in-chief of this particular committee. I also have been working for Softball Canada this past year, particularly in 2 main areas: diversity, equity, and inclusion team and the female mentorship program. And you can see that there's a picture of myself here. I believe this one was at a Canadian championship in Brampton, Ontario. And the uniform I'm wearing is pretty close to what is called the standard uniform for Softball Canada. So the uniform now is what we call a Carolina blue shirt, which is the color I was wearing when I introduced myself. And the pants are supposed to be gray, but the gray that I'm currently wearing in this picture is heather gray, and they are looking now to change that to charcoal gray. So if you are a brand new umpire or somebody that's starting out, a pair of darker gray pants, doesn't necessarily have to be umpire pants, but will fit quite nicely for your time on the diamond. So the topics for this part of the clinic is about rules. So we're going to look at legal catch, foul tip, infield fly, time and dead ball, block ball, appeal play, award of bases, double base. With any type of video recording, there is opportunity for you to answer some questions. And when you answer those questions, it would be a good idea to pause the video so that you have opportunity to look up particular things while I'm discussing them, and so that you can be engaged in this part of the module. So let's get on with the legal catch. The ball must be firmly held in the hand or the glove, and the fielder needs to demonstrate control of the ball and control of themselves. There is no time that we are looking for to show control. It's not 3 seconds or 3 steps. The ball must be released by the fielder because they want to release it, not because somebody caused them to release the ball or the ground caused them to release the ball. I'm going to show you a couple videos, mainly to show some great catches and also some not so great drops. So here we go.
All right, Mike, I'm Ashley Adamson back with you one final time for your Opus Bank 12 best plays of the year in softball. Yes.
So you're going to see some great catches. Most of them are fly balls. I'd like you to check out what the umpires are doing.
This is number 11. ASU, little Utah action. How about that grab? Chase Guitaris. Diving catch at shortstop. Oh, laying out. Oh, white beauty. I'll take that. We got dirty.
Number 10, Utah.
Hey, watch the umpire going out here to left field. And they make the call.
Julian Noskin.
2 hands for safety.
That's right. I mean, I didn't even February season a long time ago. Dug into them.
Just going to pause the video just for a minute or so, just to let you know that you're going to be umpiring most likely in a 1 umpire or a 2 umpire system. And you won't have what this particular video is showing, which is 3 or 4 umpires. If you have more than 2 umpires, you will send umpires out to the field to see if it's a catch or no catch. But in the games that you're going to be doing when you start out, it's always the plate umpire's responsibility to signal catch or no catch. And you simply do that by putting your arm up like you're calling a strike, or you can use the safe call to say no catch. We'll watch a little bit more and then I'll go on to the missed catches.
Archives. Number 9, UCLA in Arizona here. Carly Campbell. Oh, something tells me the rest of the way we are going to be watching a lot of leather here.
That seems to be the theme.
It's got to be.
Did you look ahead?
No, I didn't. I don't.
Hope not. All right, number 8, Utah and UCLA.
Organic reaction.
March 29.
Oh.
Brianna.
We should just leave it there. All right, so now we're going to go on to the missed catches. And I'm going to apologize ahead of time that this is a baseball highlight reel of missed catches or mistakes, I guess. But I want you to be able to focus in on what happened to create the non-catch or the missed catch. And also as a person watching the game, you think that something's going to be caught, and you can't anticipate too much that it's going to be caught because it may not be.
Start for the Orioles. Ball poked in the air to Para. Make a running catch. It's very no. Safe. They're going to get it out at second base. Popped up. third base side. Here around in Cheater. And he's going to get it. They drop it. Oh, man. This is an amnesia game. They want to forget they played this one. And high fly ball in the right center field. I see on the right field. It's ready.
Yeah, so you can see in those missed catches, it's more mistakes more than anything that happened. It looks like it's a fairly routine catch, but those would be considered no catches. All right, going on to the next part of the rule session would be foul tip. So what you need to know is it is a batted ball that goes directly from the bat to F2's hand or glove. Each position in the infield and outfield is given a number. And in this case, F2 stands for fielder 2, which is the catching or the back catching position. So it's got to go directly from the bat to F2's hand or glove and not higher than the batter's head. And it must be caught before touching the ground. Now, a little exception or something to think about is it can hit the glove or the hand and bounce off the chest protector. So, and caught, but it must touch the hand or glove first. So if it hits the chest protector and then hits the glove, it is not a foul tip, it's a foul ball. A foul tip means that the ball is live. That means runners can advance and they don't need to tag up. They don't have to run either, but they can without tagging up. If it's strike 3 on the foul tip, the batter is out. The runner can still run. And this is what the umpire will do. They will have their left hand basically by their chest, and they will have their right hand go on top, and they'll do a swiping motion. And then they will follow that with a strike call. Runners, like I said, don't have to run if they don't want to. Infield fly. All right, so the first thing we're going to get you to do is to look up infield fly. And if this is your first time looking at a rule book, the best place to start is what I call the index, or they call the index. And for us, our fast pitch rules starts on page 105 of the new rule book. The front half of the book is the slow pitch rules. So you want to look at the fast pitch. So if you go into the index and look for infield fly, you'll find there's probably several references, but where you want to go is going to be found on page 154. 154 in the new rule book. And you'll see when you look in the index, it'll have could have several numbers. So the first number that they give you is 5, then they have 0.1, then they have 0.26. So that's telling you to look in section 5, subsection 1, and then subsection 26. So infield fly. I can read the definition, hopefully you've got in front of you. It's a fair ball, not including a line drive or an attempted bunt, that can be caught by an infielder with ordinary effort when first and second, or first, second, and third bases are occupied before 2 are out. The pitcher, catcher, and any outfielder who positions themselves in the infield on the play will be considered infielders for the purposes of this rule. So we'll just go through some more specifications about that. It could be first and second, or first, second, and third occupied. There has to be less than 2. It cannot be a bunt or a line drive. It has to be ordinary effort to catch it. It has to be caught by an infielder. Umpires will call it at its peak. The ball needs to be fair. It has to be, it is a live ball, and runners can advance at their own risk. The reason for this rule is because we don't want one team or the other team to have an unfair advantage. If this rule was not in the book, the defense could drop the ball and the runners would be holding at the base, and they could easily get a double or a triple play. It's also an out. Another couple of things to think about is the runner hit by a ball on a base is not out, and a runner hit by a ball off the base is out. Here's the signal. You'd lift up your arm and point with your index finger. If you were the base ump, you wouldn't necessarily say infield fly unless the plate umpire did not say it. Next one is time. So we use the same sign for a time, a foul, or a dead ball. And each of those should be verbalized with your arms up. What is time? A time is a suspension of play in order for the umpire to carry out some type of a duty. Some examples could be a team needs to put a substitution in. Or let's say there's a gate open. A suspension of play granted to a participant's request. So a player or a coach or even an umpire can request time. For players, the most common one is they got to tie their shoelaces. For a coach, it could be they want to run a coat out to one of their runners. Let's say it's the pitcher that's got to first base, etc. The main thing you need to know is that only the umpire can grant time. So you have to be the one that says time. Make sure you hear them. Don't allow people just to walk on your field. Next one we're going to talk about is dead ball. And it is a suspension of play by a rule. The ball could go out of play. Let's just talk about it being a foul ball. Couple different ways of having foul balls. One of the most common is just a foul that comes off the player's bat and hits the backstop behind you. When that happens, you don't need to, everybody in the park knows it's a foul. So all you need to do is put up your hands and just, that's all you need to do. If you want to verbalize foul, you can, but it's not really necessary to be super loud. The other time that's a foul is if it's close to the foul line and it's still in the park. So a batter hits a foul. You as the umpire, if it's foul, you need to verbalize very loudly that it is foul. Could also have a dead ball on an interference call. And I'm not going to get into what interference is, but just know when you do see interference, you need to right away call dead ball. Double hit by a batter. A double hit by a batter is when the ball bounces up and hits the bat still in the batter's hand or hits the batter in the batter's box. Others, and when that happens, it's just a dead ball and the batter gets a strike on them. Obstructed runner called out is another dead ball situation. And I won't again talk too much about that because you're going to learn about that, I believe, in the next module. Others could be if a player overslides a bag and the play's done and they're still on the ground, you might call time, which is a dead ball, and they need to get up and brush off their uniform and you need to brush off the bag or put the bag back where it belongs. A block ball has the same type of signal in that you put your arms up. You won't say block ball, you'll just say dead ball. And it can be several different things. It could be that it's touched, stopped, or handled by someone not engaged in the game. It touches an object not part of the game. Could get lodged in a fence. Could be touched by a defensive player touching the ground outside of the playing field. So objects that aren't part of the game could be a glove left on the field by the offense or the defense. If a block ball prevents the defense from making it out, the runner being played on is out. If this player scored before the block ball was ruled, runner closest to home is out. If it's defensive equipment left on the field, that's one base on a pitch ball. It's two bases from the time of a thrown ball and two bases from the last base touched on a batted ball. So let's talk about that a little bit. So if it's defensive equipment left, it's one base on time of one base on a pitch ball. So let's say the ball's pitched, hits the back catcher in the shin pads and rolls over towards the fence where a piece of equipment, say a spare glove, is laying on the ground. It touches that piece of equipment. So right away, it's dead ball. And if there's runners on the bag, they get one base from the time of pitch. All right, let's say same scenario. Balls pitched. And this time the ball is hit. But as it's being hit, the ball is kind of bobbled by the left fielder. The left fielder throws the ball in and it hits that same darn glove that seems to be hanging out there. And because the ball has been thrown, now runners are allowed to take or awarded two bases from the time of the thrown ball. All right, last scenario that could happen is, let's say ball is hit and the ball hits an object on the diamond. And so again, let's say this time the ball, the glove has been dropped by, let's say a family was playing catch and they left one of their ball gloves out in right field. So if a ball hits that glove that's hanging out in right field, then the runners would get two bases from the last base touched on a batted ball. So interesting things could happen, something to think about. All right, the next part we're going to talk about is appeal play. It's a play upon which an umpire cannot make a decision until requested by a manager, coach, or player of the non-offending team. There are 10 plays and 2 are the most common. Missing a base and leaving a base on a caught fly ball before the ball is first touched. It's imperative for umpires to watch for these on every play. You cannot make a ruling unless you see it. Appeals must be made by someone in the infield area or by a coach after time is granted. Take a look and look in your index for appeal plays or appeals. So this is a good time to pause the video and make sure that you find that section. All right, my index suggests that we go to section 1, subsection 2, and the subsection 6. And so if you look at that and you keep going to page 124, you'll see that these are the types of appeals. So you'll see them all listed, and hopefully you have a chance to take a look at them before you end up on the diamond. Award of bases. There are 3 common awards of bases, and we kind of provided some of those in our last part about blocked ball. The first one that we're going to talk about is when a wild pitch is blocked or goes out of play. So the most common thing is a pitcher will pitch, let's say it goes over the head of the catcher, hits the backstop, and then kind of rolls into the dugout of one of the teams. That happens, it's one base for runners from time of pitch. We talked about this one already. Let's say the shortstop throws to first base and it goes over the head of the first base person and goes out of play. And if this happens, dead ball, and it will be two bases from time of throw. And then the next one that's most common, I would say this rarely happens, is when a batted fair ball goes out of play. Sometimes the ball gets kicked out of play, gets dropped by the fielder, let's say, and then it'll be two bases from time of pitch. All right, the next part we're going to look at is double base. A double base is only located at first base, and the primary reason for this two-colored base is because we wanted to create safety at that bag, because most plays are made at that bag. So what do we know about it? If the batted ball hits any part of the fair side, it's considered fair. If the batted ball hits only the foul side, it is foul. If there's a play being made on the base runner must use the foul portion. The defense must use the fair portion at all times. Now you'll notice that there's an asterisk at the last two statements, and that's because there'll be more information coming up about there are exceptions to the rule. Once the base runner attains first, the foul side ceases to exist. So let's say there's a hit to center field. If the center field doesn't catch it, base runner gets to one, turns towards to go to second, but realizes the ball is coming in. So they head back to first base. They need to make sure they're on the white bag. They often will have a foot beside the white bag and another foot kind of beside the orange bag. That's okay, but they have to have 1 foot touching the fair bag, and often they'll do like a running start. But the main thing is the runner must return to the white bag. All right, some exceptions in fast pitch only. On a fair ball or a pass ball that ends up being played from foul territory on the first base side, the double base becomes one large base for both the defense and the offense. So this could be where the first base person chooses to use the orange bag. If they do so, the runner should go to the white bag. Now we can still have obstruction or interference. And again, like I said, I'm not going to be talking about that because that's going to be in your next module. Well, we're basically done all our rules. So now we're going to go on to our module 2 quiz and review. So hopefully you've had opportunity to make a little bit of notes. You've stopped this presentation every once in a while and checked in your rule book. This will be another opportunity to do that. All right, first question. Is it considered a legal catch if a line drive is caught by the outfielder who drops the ball after colliding with another fielder? Should have said no catch because they dropped the ball involuntarily. They did not want to drop the ball. They did not purposefully drop the ball. They accidentally dropped the ball. They were not in control of the ball. All right, second question. The fielder catches a fly ball in his hand or glove, but drops the ball when he starts to throw the ball to another player. This happens pretty often. So I'll give you a minute to think about this. Answer, this is a legal catch as long as the ball was in control, but then dropped in a motion associated with an intended throw. So this would be called, they dropped it in the transfer from the glove to the hand. Foul tip. Here's my question. The batter has a count of 1 strike. The batter makes contact with the next pitch ball. The ball goes directly from the bat to the catcher's glove or hand and not higher than the batter's head. What's your call? Well, in order for it to be a foul tip, it's got to go directly from the bat to the catcher's glove or hand. And it can't be higher than the batter's head, and it's got to be caught. Sounds like they've done all of that. So is the batter out then? Or what's your call? Well, hopefully this is your answer. It's a foul tip. You'd go through the motion of calling a foul tip, and it would be strike 2 on the batter. If there was runners on the bag, they could run. There you go. Infield fly. Here's our scenario. Runners at first and second, there's nobody out, and the batter hits a pop fly above the infield. The infielder catches the ball, and the runners remain at their respective bases. What's your call? Well, does it fit the criteria for an infield situation? Are there runners at first and second with less than 2 out? And is the ball hit in the infield and it's not a bunt or a line drive? Sounds like it's an infield type situation. So the umpire will call the batter out, and they will use terminology like this. Infield fly, if fair, the batter is out. Now, there's a second little exception here. What if it curves over to foul territory? What's your call? Well, it's only the batter is not out unless the foul ball is caught. And it no longer is an infield fly because it's in foul territory. So now it's just a foul. Time and dead ball. Here's our scenario. Batter hits a pitch ball on the ground towards the second base person. The infielder scoops up the ball and throws it wildly towards first, and the thrown ball goes out of play. What's your call? So this is a very common scenario that will happen probably at least once or twice a game. What's your call? Hopefully you answered this way. It's a dead ball, and the batter runner is awarded 2 bases from time of throw. So that means that they will go to second. Block ball. A pitch ball or a thrown ball becomes unplayable because the ball gets caught up in the umpire's uniform. What's your call? Ball is dead. Runners are awarded 1 base from time of pitch. Appeal play. How many appeal plays are there? Hopefully you got this on the tip of your tongue. 10. Here's one of the appeal play questions. There is a runner at first. The batter hits a pitch ball in the air to the outfield. Runner at 1 does not tag up and advances to second. The defense appeals with the ball at first base to the umpire that the runner did not tag up. What's your call? Well, it says that the runner didn't tag up. And so tag up means that they have to have their foot on the base and they have to wait for the ball to be touched by the fielder. And it's looks like in this scenario, they did not. So hopefully you know that R1 is out for leaving the base too soon. Award of bases. Here's our scenario. Pitcher delivers a wild pitch and the ball rolls into the dugout. What's your call? Well, we know that the ball is not in play, so therefore, dead ball. and runners advance 1 base from time of pitch. Second scenario on award of bases, ball is hit to the shortstop with a runner at first base. Their throw goes over the head of the first baseman and out of play. There's a runner at first base, so we got to know where runners are going. Well, it's going to be 2 bases from time of throw. So first base will go, their first base runner at first base will go to third, and the batter runner will go to second. Award of bases. Runner at second base, batter hits the ball to the left fielder, who drops the ball and inadvertently kicks the ball out of play. What's your call? Hopefully you answered that the runner at second is awarded home and the batter runner is awarded second. 2 bases from the time of pitch. Double base. Ball is hit to the second baseman. They throw it towards first, but quite high. And as the first baseman comes down from catching it, they land on the orange bag at the same time as a runner hits the orange bag. What's your call? Well, it sounds like the throw is coming from the infield. It's not coming from the foul territory along the first base side. So this gives the player at first, the only option is to have their foot going on the white bag. Because they use the orange bag, that's a problem. The runner is safe as the fielder must use the white bag on a play from the infield. All right, I'm back. Hopefully you had a good module and you had opportunity to go through some of the rules and your rule book. Again, my name's Terry Klein. I'm the UIC of Softball Saskatchewan. I live in Saskatoon, so if you have opportunity to work in Saskatoon at the Diamonds, I would love to be introduced to you. Have a great season and all the best. Bye for now.